Are we ready on interpreting? Do we have an interpreter?
Yeah, Alex.
Alex? Thank you, Alex. Gracias. Okay. Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody in the room.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody on the Zoom. And thank
Morning.
you for coming today for this information session on partners in policy making. And this is a really exciting program. We're going to give you a rundown. Let me tell the people on the Zoom real quick that there is an interpreter. And so you'll have to click on the interpreter button and select Spanish. And so Irene is over there in our Spanish room, and she's helping our group on Zoom today. And then in the room, we have, who do we have?
Alex.
Alex, that's right, I just said Alex. I just read about Alex in the health advisory. If you don't know about Alex, read the health advisory, you're gonna be very impressed. So thanks, Alex, and then maybe others will help as well, okay? Thank you, and we'll just jump right in. We're also gonna record it, so we'll be able to put this online, and you can see this again later if there's anything you think you missed. We also have the applications in the room in English and in Spanish, and frequently asked questions in English and in Spanish. And then for those of you in the Zoom, we'll have it somewhere for you. It'll be on our website somewhere. And then we'll, of course, continue to promote on our health advisory. So let's jump right in to our overview, and then what we'll do is we'll ask questions, or we'll have time for questions. I've got a handy dandy clicker. And is there a problem with the channel? Okay, let's start. This, like I said, it's the information session for partners and policy making. And what we'll do is move our slides.
I got you.
All right. What we'll do is we'll go into the next one. You want to go ahead? So the overview of today's presentation is to talk about who we are, who's organizing this. We'll do what is it? What is partners in policy making? We'll talk about what's expected of the participants. What's in it for you? So what are you going to get out of this? And what do others say about their experience? So it's helpful to hear. I think we also have somebody live in our Zoom that could tell you about her experience as well. And then the big thing will be questions. Project coordination. Erica's in the room. Raise your hand, Erica. Erica has agreed to be our coordinator for the project. So she is our partners in policy making coordinator, and she will be helping get the coordinating committee together throughout the sessions, and she'll also help with any of your questions and help manage all the components of the program. And then agency sponsors would be Gabby Lopez. She's our cultural specialist at Valley Mountain Regional Center, and myself. So we're sort of the agency sponsors for the program. Next. And then we have this great team called the organizing committee. We are so creative. We came up with this creative name for them, the organizing committee. And we have Christine Couch, who is the Director of Consumer Services for the adults at Valley Mountain Regional Center. Doug Bonet, Special Assistant to the Director. He manages all programs, initiatives that come out of the Director's office. Dina Hernandez, she's the manager at the State Council on Developmental Disabilities, North Valley Hills. So she is one of our great partners, and we're really lucky to have her, and she's in the room today. Lisa Colley, Executive Director of Family Resource Network, and we work with Lisa a lot. She's got a lot of great connections in the community. Dora Contreras, she's the
Aye.
manager for the region on the Integrated Collaboration Coalition. And
Morning.
Tricia Albino is the Director of Projects and Outreach at VR California. The one know here in our area is congressional. Maritza Ochoa, she's the director of a group called Escucha Mi Voice. Hear my voice, I think, right? Yes, that's what it is. And then we also have our Self-Advocacy Council 6. And we don't know which one, it's a whole council of leaders that are self-advocates. And we will have some from there that will be selected to be on the organizing committee. Okay. And what does this group do, the organizing committee? They do a few things. They are, first, they're content experts. So they have a lot of experience in the field. And of all the competencies that we're going to cover, they have a lot of knowledge about those. So they'll bring that knowledge to the organizing of each event. They're connected professionals, so they have a lot of connections throughout our community, locally, and then sometimes as well state and national level, so they can reach out to people they know that are experts. And they're community leaders, in particular in our community, so they understand the needs of our community. They will be event volunteers, so when we have sessions throughout the time, some of them will come and they will help manage the logistics of the room, of the sessions. And then they are going to be applicant evaluators. So this whole team that I showed you will be taking in all of the applications, reviewing them, and making sure that we get a good, diverse selection of applicants. Okay, and that's what they do, and that's who they are. So, what is it? What is partners and policymaking? So, first of all, it is partnerships with policymakers, which is a little different. It's not direct where you're advocating for yourself so that you in particular get a certain thing. It really is that you will become a change maker working together with policymakers to make big changes. So you know, in your experience, of big things that need to change in the entire system, this is what we're training you for, is to change large systems. The other is state-of-the-art best practices. So we'll talk about that in detail, but you're going to learn about not only best practices in making changes and in advocating, but also best practices in the service delivery. What are the expectations that you can have, and how do you raise them as well? And so that's a big part of it. Systems change, I've mentioned that a little bit, but systems change. This program will help you focus on, maybe you think the problem is you, your family, and a school, or your family and somebody in a government, or somebody in the regional center, one person. But in fact, what we're talking about here is that you may be having a systems problem that a lot of other people experience as well. And so how do you change the bigger problem? And how do you focus on the bigger problems that may be related? And they might be in multiple systems. So how do you do that? And that's what this program will focus on. Quality principles, these are national principles in our field. And so we'll be talking about, mentioned best practices. That will come from all over the world, and in particular our country and state. But processes mean, we'll be talking about sort of running meetings, organizing. How do you organize other groups of people? how do you engage in the decision making in policy world. So we will cover all of that. Core, and then we'll cover the core values that are the most progressive core values that we all sort of understand for our field in computing. So we'll cover that as well. And those are the foundations of partners in policy. So the way we'll do it is we'll have expert speakers. Not only will we grab from locally, because we have some great experts that are in our region, but we will also reach out to people in other states, further and further away. Sometimes it's very helpful to reach out to somebody who maybe is a policymaker in Washington, D.C., or somebody who's involved in state government, or a lobbyist who works on policy. So we'll be reaching out further and further away, bringing in some experts that are involved in policy decisions and policy making, and help us understand what they are and how they change and how we might make other changes. So we'll pull from people from all over, experts from all over. So we'll also pull from people who know about the state of the art best practices, and not only advocacy, but in services. And we'll bring them to you. The other thing is that these will all be in-person trainings. We'll have them here, and you'll meet them. You'll get to know them. They'll become your resources as a partners in policymaking graduate. So that's a very important part of this system, this program, is that you make your own connections, personal connections to people who are well-known and can make large-scale changes and have made. Like I mentioned earlier, core values. We're going to be spending a lot of time about core values. Core values such as the principles of integration, how we fight segregation, and how we make sure that the home and community-based services principles, which is all about being person-centered and being integrated. And so we're going to dig deep into the various levels of the core values. But when you leave this program, that will be second nature for you. Adult learning methods. So we're going to have all adults in the room. So we got to make sure that we deliver content to the class in a way that makes sense, and so you'll learn. And so that all the speakers have experience in this area, and then they've got to be motivational. They can't be boring. So we want to make sure that we get mainly motivational as well. Now, sometimes you might get a little boring one here and there, but that happens because maybe we're doing some legislation, but we won't spend a lot of time with those. So those are some of the key pieces for the speakers part. So we're going to get these speakers for you. And then just kind of globally, we've got the competencies. I'm going to cover what those are. All of the competencies that are necessary for large-scale change, and for you to be a leader in making large-scale changes. We'll also integrate some online learning in between. So we will supplement the lessons that you get in the class with a couple of sessions here and there of online learning. And then skill building activities and homework. So we'll make sure that you're active, you're moving, and that you have some follow-up work, and you come back and you discuss what you did in your follow-up work. So move along, next one. So they're going to be, as I mentioned, eight sessions. So 8 sessions, once a month. This class will be here, and there'll be about 50 people. And they'll be hitting on these broader areas. The first, each one is sort of in their own colors. So history and inclusive education would be an example of month 1. So we would be spending the whole 2 days on bringing in speakers, expert speakers, who will give you overviews and information and some entertaining moments as well on these particular topics. Then you would go away and you'd have a little bit of homework and come back and start off the next morning of the next month talking about what you learned and what you did. And then we would get into the new topic, which would be service coordination, case management, the concept of self-directing, and person-centered planning. So we spend those 2 days digging really deep into these principles. And we would bring in service coordinators. We would bring in people who have worked in the field for many years and social workers, and share their experiences, and then also experts in person-centered planning and person-centered thinking. So each one of these is some broad categories, and we'll dig really deep into the details of them all. The next one will be employment and self-supported living and home of your own concept. Home of your own concept is a core value in developmental services. So directing your own life, and then we'll get into there. Next month, we'll have community organizing and advocacy and meeting, public official, and we'll be talking about vision. So these concepts here are sort of we're really digging into the details of advocacy now when we get into this one, right? How do you bring other people together and increase your power as a group to make a change that's going to impact people and improve their self-interest and improve their life? So a lot of great things in this one. That's one of my favorite kind of sessions. Then we'll have state legislation, federal legislation. We want you to know the whole process on the state level, how they're making changes that impact your life. And then on the federal level, which a lot of times we don't even think about, but there's another avenue there to make change. And we'll dig really deep into there as well. The next one is parliamentary procedures and serving on boards. So one of the big things here is we want these graduates to become the participants in the decision-making bodies. And who are they? Those are board of directors, those are commissions, councils, all these different bodies where they make these decisions that will impact their entire community. So you will learn how to get on them, and when you do get on them, how it works. What are the logistics so that you can fully participate and engage in that arena. So we'll get into that. We'll also have a next month on assistive technology and positioning and positive behavior supports. And this is another area where we are talking about best practices. So we're going to get into, we'll bring in some experts in the field, and we'll talk about best practices in these areas. And accommodations will be another big piece of this. And this is a one before the very last. And then we'll have media skills, where we work on how do we connect with the media, how do we call the newspaper, how do we get the local news on TV, how do we get them involved, and then how do you do an interview, and some tricks of the trade for communicating with the media. And then there'll be a big ceremony in the end. Well, you'll be exhausted, but it'll be fun because we're going to be calling it a celebration. So if we call it that, then that means it's going to be fun. And so we'll have a big celebration. You can bring your family. And I'll tell you what, in my experience every year I've seen it, it's huge where the family comes and there's a lot of pride because of the amount of work and dedication it takes to become a partner's graduate. Next slide. So I'm not going to go over this one, but this is for you. These are the details of the competencies. These are all the skills that have been identified as necessary for large-scale change. And that's for to become a partner's graduate. You will understand all of these, or you will be able to demonstrate some of these competencies, or you'll be able to at least describe what they mean. And so And they are in all these different areas that I have mentioned. I think probably all of them already under the broader categories. But as you can see here, there are so many different competencies that are going to weave in and out throughout the larger focus areas. So they all have a place in those 8 months that I showed you. All right, and then I think we'll move on because that, like I said, is a lot. But the point of that slide is that if you become one of the partners, you will get all that information and skill. So now, the part about what's expected of the participants. Go to the next slide. So the first one is the criteria. So just so you get a sense of who's going to be there, we're looking for making a diverse group of students for this class. And so we're looking for about 20% of this class will be monolingual Spanish people. And maybe it may be the only one of its kind ever, where we will see how we communicate with one another, even though we don't speak the same language. We'll still have to have a way that we can communicate with one another. And we have to do that today. And it's not easy. So we're gonna make ourselves do that in this program. So we're gonna have interpreters the whole time. Some of the sessions are gonna be in Spanish. And so English only language folks, they're gonna have to get an interpreter, and then they'll know the experience, and then they'll be able to communicate as well. And so, and then the others that are in English, like this is, you're gonna have the interpretation that you have, they'll have that as well. 20% will be adults with disabilities, self-advocates. And this is a critical part of partners in policymaking. When you get to the testimonies part, you'll see why that is over and over one of the biggest parts of partners in policymaking. And it's not even in any of those slides where I talked about the competencies or those core areas. It's not in any of that, but they pull out some experience working with one another, parents and self-advocates, and they learn a lot from each other. That is not even part of the curriculum, it's part of the magic. The other is we'll be looking for the 10% bilingual, English and Spanish, almost like bridge people. That will be there too, and then others. Well, we want to try to make it diverse from our community, so select from rural and urban and different parts. And the focus will be, of course, for people with disabilities and family members. Okay, next. So the recruitment and selection. So this is also what's expected. Information and promotion. Now we're doing that right now. We're giving you information. We're promoting it. We've been promoting it for a couple weeks now, I think. We'll continue to promote it. We'll ask you all in your networks to promote it. Our organizing committee is promoting it throughout their networks. And then the information we establish for you, we'll hand that out ongoing. And so we'll have to spend a lot of time because it is a big commitment. We have to be really clear with people what's expected of them and what they're going to get out of it. Let's see, the next one is the application process. So like I had mentioned, in the room, we have an application in English and we have an application in Spanish. And so please take one before you leave. Hopefully you'll be inspired after this to want to do that. But we have those, you'll turn them in. We also have them electronically. Is that right, Erica? We have them electronically as well?
Both in English and Spanish.
English and Spanish on paper and English and Spanish electronically. We're all things, all people. And we also have an FAQ that we put together, and English and Spanish, and we'll have that so you can download that as well. So that will give you, that's where it's all going to be, the application. Then the committee, the organizing committee, is going to review them all, or spread them out and make sure that we're hitting those different groups that we've mentioned before. And then we'll be making sure we that we're diverse and we are in communities as well. So that's the other part that we'll do after we make sure we get monolingual and the bilingual and the self-advocates. When we work those through, then we'll be looking at the rest of the 50%. That will be a variety of disability experience and ages and regions. So we'll do that, and then we'll call people in for interviews. And so we just want to make sure that we're very clear on what's expected. We'll talk about that again, and the kinds of things that you might have more questions, and we'll have that session then, and then we'll make decisions. And then when we make decisions, that's when we'll talk to you and say, okay, you've been selected, you've applied, you understand everything, any other questions, and then are you willing to make these commitments? So the commitments are, like I had mentioned, 8 months. So for 8 months, 1 weekend a month for 8 months, we'll be having these 2-day sessions with all of this content. It's a lot, your brain will be pulsating. You'll have so many thoughts and questions. But it's a lot of work. That's a commitment. And do you really want to be that person who changes the world, makes the world a better place for all folks in our community? Is that you? Some people would rather be the one who somebody else made it a better place for them. But are you the person who would want to make that change for our community? And so that's a big commitment. It's a self-reflection. So you make that, and then you decide together, we decide together, this is everything, right? And then you make the commitment that you'll be there at all those sessions. And we sign agreements. We'll do this, you'll do that. And our this is all of that content and all of those speakers. Next. So what's expected of the participants? I did talk about a commitment. So to attend, I gotta keep repeating this so to make sure we got this real clear. So the commitment to attend 1 weekend a month for 8 months. It'll be here. Participation agreement, there'll be a signed agreement. We're really looking for your willingness to engage with one another and to learn, to come ready to learn, not just to be the person who knows everything, but the person who's willing to talk to other people, engage, and learn. Continuous learning assessment surveys. So this, we want to learn from you, see how you engage what you're learning. How do we gauge what you're learning? So this is where, in the beginning of a weekend session, we might ask you some questions about your understanding on federal bureaucracy, or let's say boards, running boards, or being on a board. We'll ask you some general questions. And then at the end of that weekend, we'll ask you the same questions. And that will help us see if any of your understanding changed from the beginning to the end of that particular weekend. We want to keep seeing, are there results? So we need that from everybody. Don't just skip out because you've had a full weekend and you just want to get out. We need that. It's critical for us to know that we're doing a good job of that. Secure supports needed through the IPP or IFSP. So on this one, we didn't get funding for the interpreters, respite, things like that, PAs, personal assistants, or facilitators. So, but it is something that a person can get in their IPP. So if you get selected and you need additional support to be part of the training program, then we'll have to have your IPP meetings, your IFSP meeting, and we'll have to work through all those components to make sure that you can fully participate for your son or daughter or for yourself. And then session evaluation forms. Every time we're done with a weekend, we want to know how it went. And so we'll ask you all kinds of things about how that session worked. Did you like the pins? Was the lunch any good? How was the breakfast? we want to know those kind of details as well, and we'll make changes. So if all you get for lunch is a big salad, because Doug is a health person, then you would say that, and then we get more exciting food. But if you don't, then we'll just get what Doug gets. So you'll need to fill those out as well. So minor things like that, like the logistics of the room was too hot, too cold, too spaced out, not spaced out, not whatever. But then the other things about, I like that speaker, I didn't like that speaker, I was offended, I was inspired, those kinds of things. And then our organizing committee will get together, we'll review it all, and we'll make sure that we take into account that information. We're setting up your next session. So that's very important for us. And then finally, there's the graduate project. So we're building up these great qualified change agents. Well, in the session, at some point, we'll be talking about what do you see yourself doing, changing, building upon. And we'll be asking you that throughout. And then at some point in the process, we'll be asking you to come up with what would your project be? What would that be you're going to do? And then as you develop that, we'll revisit that throughout the sessions towards the second half, and we'll help you in developing that. And then we'll decide, maybe some of them are so time limited that they occur during that 8 months, and we'll help you. We'll want to know how you went through with that. Some of them are going to be longer. They're going to be past graduation. So we'll want to make sure that we're connecting with you and that you've got everything in line that you need to make that change. So we'll be doing that throughout as well. And those are the things that are expected of you. Some of the things of what's in it for you. Hopefully I've expressed a lot of what's in it for you. But in addition to that, we've got, it says something on the top, but on the bottom it says leaders in, you'll become leaders in self-advocacy. You'll be on a local level. So some of our self-advocates who maybe are local level, they're learning to become leaders, then they'll become leaders. If they're already a leader, they'll also become a leader on the state level, maybe some on the national level, so that their voices will penetrate throughout the advocacy community. Directors, you'll become directors of boards, commissions, councils, advisory committees, different work groups. So we're looking for developing leaders that will become these kinds of, will have these kind of positions in our community. And you'll see throughout that that's what happens. Some will become service provider leaders. They'll say, I want to start providing the services I learned about that are the best practices, and I want to do them in the best practice way. Or some join the boards of the nonprofits that are providing services, and then they help make the decisions, the direction for that service provider. So that's another big part. They become the bridge builders. They become the bridge builders connecting the disability community with all parts of society. So that means other types of forums that maybe are more generic. Sometimes they become the policymakers themselves. Some of them run for office. And we have many partners and policy making graduates that have become elected officials. So they work in government. So sometimes they'll get a high level government job, where they're engaged in the high level policymaking and implementation of policies. So, and then on the top is that they become leaders in the advocacy movement in general and the parent advocacy movement as well. Next. Next. So I just asked for a few testimonials, and I think we have one on our Zoom. But Fernando and Elizabeth graduated in 2008. They had a lot to say, but I pointed out one big part, they said that due to this important and life-changing training, we have been able to help thousands of families address barriers and roadblocks and navigate the complex system of support. So they use partners in policymaking and in their advocacy, and they help other people. Next. Raymond Hampson, he's a parent, and he calls himself a dadvocate. So he is one of the rare dads, there's not a lot of dads in our system, as an advocate, and he is from the class of 2007, and he said, partners, changed my life, changed my thinking about what is possible for my son. He said, the advocacy for my son, his peers, and others is now my passion. Pip gave me my passion. And he is on the board of directors of a statewide organization, advocacy organization. Next. And Debbie Sarmiento is connected with the Family Resource Centers of California. And she said, very quite simply, it was the most important thing I've ever done in my career. And she has been in this field for many, many, many years. And so that's a big one. Yvette Batista, she's the director of the East Los Angeles Family Resource Center. And I'd like to say that she said that partners of policymaking helped me shed a great deal of inaccurate information about the system. Individuals with disabilities and their families, especially, my understanding of the capacity of self-advocates and families to create change. So she didn't have that great of a view of their capacity to create change. After this, it changed her thinking completely. Partners in policymaking will always be that watershed training for me. And I think one more. This is just a few in general. These are actually off of the national website. The different things that partners have done, created, worked on bills, changed their thinking about what self-advocates can do. And that's the one thing you'll hear all the time. And how they organize meetings with congressional members and local legislators. Next. And then questions. And we have Grace. Grace Huerta, are you there, Grace? Can we pin her? Where's Grace?
Am I there?
In a while.
Tony, hey, how are you? Wonderful. You're taking me back down to memory lane. My goodness.
What year are you?
Wow, 2008, younger years, Tony. Those were when my children were so young at the time. It was, wow, what an opportunity. And thank you for inviting me to share a few notes. I know we're pressed for time, so I wanted to condense my journey. If you'd like, I can go ahead. Just let me know when you want me to get started.
Yes, get started now. We want to hear from you.
Wonderful, Tony. Okay, I kind of lost the can you guys still see me? I kind of lost the video. I don't know why.
We see you good.
Okay, so I don't know. I know Erika mentioned that either Spanish or English. ¿Quieren oír en español or inglés? What would you prefer? Erika, are you still there? Erika? ¿En español or inglés?
Español.
Ah,
Español.
Vámonos, español, eso me gusta.
Sí.
Soy hija, mi mamá es de Guanajuato, Irapuato, y me dice, mija, habla español para que no se te olvide, aunque salga como salga, lo voy a hacer. Is that okay, Tony? Español?
Yeah, and then in the end, just tell us what you said real quick.
Oh, okay, very good.
Like a couple sentences.
Okay.
But yeah, that'd be good. It'd be good.
Okay.
What it's gonna be like.
Muy bien, lo que quería decir, como dice Tony, todo lo que dijo el señor Tony Anderson, él fue una persona muy importante en mi vida. En ese tiempo, mis hijos estaban muy chicos. Tengo 2 hijos que ya son adultos que tenían el diagnóstico de autismo. Entonces, esos años, como muchos de ustedes, se siente uno que tengo que saber cómo educar a mis hijos, ayudar a mis hijos. Pero cuando se me vino esta oportunidad del hice, como dicen, Google Translate, cómo decir partners in policymaking, y me salió socios en la formulación de políticos o políticas. Y eso es, vamos a esa tema de esa oportunidad cuando me ofrecieron, me invitaron de ser parte de estas juntas. En ese tiempo pensé, ¿tendrá yo el tiempo? Ya como muchos de ustedes tenemos mucho, ¿verdad?, que hacer con nuestros hijos, el sistema escolar, los IEPs, pero también, ¿verdad?, buscar los servicios con el centro regional. Y en ese tiempo sí estaba ya en la mesa directiva del centro de Kern y pensé, pues no, estoy muy ocupada, ¿cómo voy a poder hacer esto de ser parte? Pero ahí el director en ese tiempo me animó, no, Grace, escríbete y trata de ir a las juntas. Necesitamos más personas hispanas, especialmente de nuestra cultura, necesitamos más representación. Por favor, trata de juntarse con este grupo. Entonces dijo que no hice promesas porque, como dijo Tony, sí, es un compromiso. Y cuando vi que son 8 sesiones, dije yo, pues voy a tratar 1 o 2, 3 a ver cómo me va. Y lo que yo quiero decirles es que animarlos, fue una experiencia que cambió mi vida. Fue el empiezo de este camino. Todos ustedes tienen talentos únicos. Mi camino fue mi camino. Ustedes van a buscar también su propio camino, van a aprender. Y lo que me gustó es que me quedé impresionada por los temas y por la confianza que los presentadores, los líderes como el señor Tony Anderson puso en nosotros. Ellos sí dijeron, ustedes sí pueden y necesitamos el apoyo de ustedes como la comunidad para que tengamos esa unidad para luchar primero por nuestros hijos y también por nuestra comunidad. Entonces, todo ya, como dicen, adelante los años y el tiempo que puse yo, me quedé, yo dije, no, esto es algo tan importante que hice un plan. Y lo que yo les quiero recomendar es hablar con su familia, explicarles de este compromiso, de esta oportunidad y que tengan ese apoyo, ¿verdad? Desde los que están con sus esposos o esposas, su matrimonio, hablar con y decirles, mira, quiero ser parte de estas juntas y buscar ese apoyo. Y ahorita oí, Tony, que es fabuloso, que pueden pedir más horas de respect para poder tener éxito en estas juntas. Y lo que también me gustó, el preparación, cómo prepararme para luchar por mis hijos. Y sabes lo que les quiero decir, algo lo que pensé ahorita que estamos pensando, lo que estaba diciendo Tony, es que a veces se aprovechan de nosotros porque creen que no tenemos el conocimiento de nuestros derechos. Y cuando yo fui a estas juntas, aprendí, no, yo tengo que, como mamá, aprender cuáles son mis derechos, cuáles son cómo lo puedo hacer de una manera para ayudar a mis hijos y también a mi comunidad. Entonces, la preparación de todo esto, lo que decidí fue la clave del éxito. Y ahora, pues, como dicen, ya en años, ahora las puertas cuando se abren, ya estuve yo preparada para decir, ok, yo puedo participar en esto, ya estoy más preparada. Y nunca se me olvida, yo creo uno de los primeros días de estas juntas, hasta nos enseñaron cómo agarrar el micrófono, como a veces está uno con el micrófono así, y cosas básicas a veces que no piensa uno cuando tenemos que hablar. Y no es algo como fácil, ¿verdad? Que tenemos que prepararnos, pero hasta eso te enseñan cómo hablar, cómo producir ese mensaje tan importante y claramente y individualmente y también con la comunidad. Y yo vi lo que dijo Tony, tienen ustedes un grupo los organizadores tan buenísimos, hasta me quedé como, wow, quisiera regresar a esos tiempos, pero por favor piensen, prepárense y anímense de hacer eso y porque hoy es su momento, hoy es una oportunidad que se les está ofreciendo a ustedes. Sí, es un compromiso, tenemos que tenemos que tener ahora para tener un plan. Y gracias por invitarme a dar estas palabras. Ahora soy vicepresidente del ARC de California. Hoy soy una de las fundadoras del Centro de Familias Excepcionales, que ahora es Exceptional Family Center. Y nunca pensé, cuando empecé ahí con Tony Anderson y el Policymaking, pensé yo que iba yo poder luchar eso, no, pero aprendí y gracias al Policymaking, ARC of California, por todo esto, la experiencia, y soy la persona, soy la mamá que soy hoy, gracias a esa oportunidad. Gracias, Tony y Erika, por invitarme.
And I think
Gracias, Grace. I'm gonna do a quick summary. I don't think I could, you know, say what you said as powerfully, but I'll try to make it so that we can get into the questions.
Oh, very good. Gracias.
Gracias, Grace. So Grace
Excellent.
shared with us her experience around her being part of the Partners in Policymaking back in 2008.
2008.
And she's the mother of two now adult children with autism, and she was able to learn how to manage the system. But more importantly, she said that the many times people believe that parents that have children with developmental disabilities cannot speak up, and people take advantage. And I think that's something that I wanted to highlight in translating, because that's part of what this program offers. To say that she benefited so much that she also, like, even things as simple as how to hold a knife and how to communicate are so important. But also, she also talked about that now that Tony mentioned in the presentation, that you will be able to get respite day hours if you need it for you to be able to do it. Because when she started, she was also very busy with her children, and she had a lot of things going on, and she gave it a chance for a couple of days, and then she committed because she realized that it was something important for her to do. And so with that, I would like to basically share her how this policy program really shaped her, and now she's a vice president in the ARC, one organization that focus on disability rights. And also she funded her own organization, right, Grace?
Yes, the nonprofit of the Exceptional Family Center.
Yes, so she funded her own nonprofit, and now she runs, and she's able to continue her work thanks to this program. And she thanked many times Tony for this opportunity.
Oh yeah, Tony, you were the yes, Tony.
So she wishes
Tony
she would be back to the program because she really benefited from it, and she welcomes all of you to take the time. It's an opportunity for you to invest in yourself and your children.
Oh, and quickly,
Did I miss anything? Go ahead.
quickly, here's the diploma. Look at Tony, I still have it.
Ahí está su diploma, todavía la tengo.
Oh, and I saw real quickly, quería decir también en español, real quickly, yo sé que la hora no se nos va, pero hasta lloramos. We cried when it finished. Hicimos tantos amistades. When it was finished, we were so close. We were a family. We still are. Hasta lloramos cuando terminamos porque íbamos a extrañar esos momentos tan especiales que tuvimos juntos. Y por eso guardé diploma, los fotos, y thank you, Tony. Ese esfuerzo fue algo tan, ¿verdad? Cambió mi vida. Y gracias a ti, todos los presentadores. Gracias.
So she thanked you, and she thanked all the presenters, and that it was very memorable moment for her, and they all cried, and that's why she still keeps that diploma. Gracias, Grace. Thank you so much.
Adelante.
Okay, ahora preguntas. Now we are open up for questions. I think maybe that would you help me with the chat? Vamos a empezar a hablar, hacer las preguntas. Entonces vamos a empezar con los que están en el salón. We're going to start with those who are in the room, and then we're going to go to the virtual attendees. So make sure you write your questions. Vamos a darles la oportunidad que ustedes hagan las preguntas mientras los que están en la presentación nos escriben en el chat. ¿Alguna pregunta sobre el programa? Any questions?
You want to give them the microphone and then.
El programa, gracias. El programa protege también a los jóvenes niños que tienen autismo, que han sido víctimas de la policía que los ha asesinado, porque ese policía ha ignorado que ese niño tiene una discapacidad.
So he wants to know if the program talks about cases like children with autism that are killed by the police or officials because they had kind of an abuse situation, so how to handle those.
Yes, yeah, good question. It can.
Very good.
It can
Excellent.
come up. Well, because we're talking about systems, right? And public safety is a system that we all live in. So it could come up. We will, I describe general categories. As we get to these categories, we'll be adding some specifics. And if that's what the class wants to have a focus on, we will have a focus on that as well. We will have speakers, a variety of perspectives, and I could definitely see that being one of them. I know one of our partners years ago, I think it was Los Angeles, we talked about that in great detail in one of our sessions. So it can definitely be part of what the class does. They run a lot of the detailed parts of it, but it is a systems issue, a community issue, and so that is very likely to happen.
They're getting translated.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to translate that question, Eric?
Hay una pregunta en el chat que dice, una vez que estés seleccionado los cursos de los fines de semana, ¿habrá traducción cada mes? So the question is, does every, now once you're selected, does every course or class or during the weekends, or there's translation?
Yes, and they'll be, well, we may need them both ways. So we may have an English to Spanish and Spanish to English.
And I think they're both in
Mhm.
Mhm.
¿Hay más preguntas? Or are there any more questions?
Hola,
See, that's coordinating.
buenos días. Yo la pregunta, las familias que tienen hijos con discapacidades, ¿qué pasa con las personas que no tienen documentos? ¿Es la misma ayuda? ¿Se puede pedir la misma ayuda?
So she wanted to know if people who are undocumented could ask for the same services.
Oh, yes, I could have done that.
Oh my God. I guess I'm doing some training from my parents.
I love that a community organizer is actually giving up the mic. You did not learn that skill?
Whatever. Just for now. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? La pregunta que está en el chat dice, yo soy bilingüe, pero no es español, es tagalo y inglés.
Yes.
¿Podría calificar?
Yes.
So
yes, you would still qualify.
if you are
If you are bilingual.
in another language,
In another language, yes.
you just have to make sure you're from the region.
Right.
Solo se tienen que asegurar que son parte de la región del centro regional. No, pero te pueden hacer
Yo soy de fuerzas también. Por ejemplo, en este programa se va a ayudar a hacer las aplicaciones, formas para, por ejemplo, cuando uno tiene un hijo deshabilitado, que hay veces que no sabe uno en la escuela cómo llenar la aplicación de que uno tiene un hijo deshabilitado. Diferentes aplicaciones para diferentes recursos de escuelas.
Okay, she's asking if during the program you're gonna be able to like teach or go over the applications, especially for parents who may have a child with a disability, but they don't know how to work with the educational system to like get them that support or any other forms that they may need.
Yes, for the application process, if you need help, sure, Erica will be. No, somebody will definitely help. We'll definitely offer help filling out the application if you need it. So, because we really want to get those applications in, it's a high priority for us. So if that's the barrier, then we'll find out. One of us on the organizing group will help.
The next question, Tony, can you,
Uh-huh.
is the PowerPoint available in Spanish?
It is not, but could become available in Spanish. We'll maybe get somebody to translate it.
The next question is
We can do that.
how it's the program, it's how to support consumers to have access to services. How is the program gonna support consumers to have access to services?
Well, it's, part of it, the main focus is large systems change. So that's a number one. But in that, inherently in that, is that you change access. You might change rules to access. You also, you yourself may understand the processes better and may be able to access services better in a different, in the different formats, right? In IHSS, Medi-Cal, SSI, regional centers, education, in all the different formats. As you learn them all better, and you'll be able to access services as well. Just as a reminder, that's not the main focus, but it is definitely an outcome of that.
If you pay attention, you'll be able to do that. I'm just kidding. That's the organizer in me. So there's another question. Vamos a ir a las preguntas del chat. Where is the training taking place?
Right here in Stockton, California, in this large conference room
At Valley Mountain.
at Valley Mountain Regional Center.
Yes.
We have a lot of folks, more folks here that are online than in person. So maybe talk about how it's designed to be in person.
Yes, so this training program is designed to be in person. We're going to have the interpreters here in the room to interpret English to Spanish, Spanish to English. And the reason for it is that we're trying to build relationships with one another. We're bringing speakers in for you to get to meet, for them to become your resources. And then also we'll mix up the room a lot so that we change the dialogue groups and the work groups so that you get to know everybody in the class very well, and that they become your resources as well as you become their resources. So that is inherent in the program.
So the next question is, I'm also not a mom with a child or a person with disabilities, but I will have an adult residential facility soon. I am in the process of licensing our facility. So there's not a question, but it's a statement. So please, would that question be that if you qualify? If they're, yeah.
No, the qualifications are those categories we mentioned, and then that remaining 50% are parents of children or young adults in school or just out of school. So that's the main focus for the partners.
What about, we have here a grandma with
family member.
a family member will qualify.
Yes.
So the next question, Tony, if I am selected, would I be able to get respite additional hours of rest during the weekend.
Yeah, the way it would work is if selected, then you would have IPP meeting and it would be part of the IPP meeting to get the additional hours. So I can never say that, I can't make a decision here outside of an IPP meeting technically, but if you're selected, that all comes into consideration as well. And then you would go to your IPP with that information and we would help communicate that in the IPP. So, but I can never guarantee an outcome of an IPP before going. Right?
Okay, the next question
Try to
is,
trick me on that.
is this a good venue for quality and compliance directors then wanting to partner with the community? About maybe the regional center
Is it a good
facility?
venue for quality and compliance directors wanting to partner with the community? Yeah, I mean, it could be, because we're going to be talking about best practices. So there might be a time for, as a speaker, we might need, we'll definitely be needing different people who understand national best practices, good models of service and things like that. So we'll definitely need people with that expertise as speakers.
Okay, the next question is, how is the selection process? How is the selection process? And then, how are you gonna be able to participate? And is it gonna be in person?
Right, I think we handled it in person, but as, again, just in case you didn't, it will be in person. All the sessions will be in person. And how we will make the selection, we've got the application and we've got the committee to review all the applications. And then we'll interview and we'll make sure that we have a wide diversity of applicants. And then we'll make selections and then we'll make commitments. We'll meet with you again in the end and say, you've selected you still want to be in. And you realize that we're coming once a month for 8 months, and we really have this expectation that you'll be able to meet. I should mention that on the application, it has the dates and times that each session will be, and we have decided to take off December.
Okay.
So in the middle of it all, there's 1 month off, and that is the month of December.
So based on some of the questions, I'm assuming that they haven't seen the application. So is it okay, Doug, if you can upload it in the chat? Or
I think so, yeah.
okay, the next question is, are the 2 days going to be Saturday and Sunday? And what would be the start and stop time look like?
I'll do that as the coordinator.
So it is a Saturday and Sunday, and it's an 8-hour shift. So we would start at 9 a.m. and go all the way to 5. And there's gonna be lunch and breakfast will be provided by the Valley Mountain Regional Center. Does that? And then the next question.
Maybe cookies. Maybe.
Who's gonna select the participants?
The organizing committee, that group that I showed in the very beginning that had the rectangles and the circles in it, that's the organizing committee, and they're the ones who make the selections.
Oh, okay. I did move my question. Okay, so
Do you want to let them?
I cannot assist at the Stockton office because of the distance. Is there a Zoom option?
No Zoom option, so it's all here. And so maybe in the future years, if it goes really good, we'll be able to have it in another part of our region. So for now, it's all here in Stockton, and they're all in person.
Okay, so sorry we skipped based on the movement in the chat. So we're going back to Megan. Yes, so yes, Megan, it's gonna be Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 5 p.m. Lunch and breakfast will be included, and every session must be attended in order for completing the program. And then my name is Nancy. Are the meetings or the trainings are only gonna be at the center, or they're gonna be a hybrid session? And how many hours per session. I think I might have already answered, but I'll answer for Tony. The meetings are gonna take place here at the Regional Center in Stockton. And actually in the room, we are already those who are in person. And then they're not gonna be hybrid. You may get hybrid homework, like videos to watch, but not the classes will be in person. And like I mentioned, it's gonna be 8 hours on Saturday and 8 hours on Sunday. So please, we need the PowerPoint and the information in Spanish. There is a lot of us who are Spanish speakers that we study or lost in our country, but we only need the opportunity to, like this opportunity. Thank you again, VMRC, for your collaboration in our Hispanic community. I think that was more of a comment. And then again, so the question is the training gonna be in Zoom, and which counties you have to live in order for you to be selected? I'll answer the first question and then I'll pass the other question to Tony. It's not gonna be through Zoom, it's gonna be in person, and the counties are gonna be, Tony?
The counties are going to be San Joaquin County, Stanislaus County, Amador County, Calaveras County, and Tuolumne County. And I will say that maybe we might have a speaker here and there that might be on Zoom, but the class itself is in person the whole time.
The next question is the application gonna be sent through email, or how are we gonna be able to apply? And I can answer this. Doug already put the links for the online application. It's gonna be through Google Forms. If you need a physical copy, you can email me, or you can request it to Doug or Gabby or Tony, or we can send you one via mail, like a printed copy. You just have to contact us and let us know your address and what you prefer. Again, right now we're still only have it in Spanish and English, but we're happy to, if there are requests for other languages, we're happy to translate them based on your request. It must be requested. The next, so that's already answered. COVID is still a reality for us, especially with children with disabilities. You should have 2 options, one in person and in Zoom. I'll let you answer.
That didn't sound like a question.
Well, it was like, it
Yeah.
didn't have a question mark, but it said there should be 2 options, but we can just clarify.
Understood. But I think I've already covered why.
Okay. Okay, so again, the part of the core of this program, as Tony mentioned, is for people to create community and to actually engage together. And so part of what we would like you to think about is, if you feel comfortable and you would want to be in person, it's part of that commitment. So yeah, so it's required to be in person. Who's gonna select the participants? And I'm gonna just take a stab at it, Tony. Tony, and we're gonna share the PowerPoint and we're gonna translate it. But Tony share PowerPoint and he shared the names of that committee members that are gonna be the organizing committee, who are gonna be reviewing the application. And it's a mix of parents of children with developmental disabilities, people from different organizations that cater to the same clients that the center, and also we have some community partners and nonprofits that work with parents with developmental, with children with developmental disabilities. And also we have some self-advocates that would be part of the selection committee. I cannot assist, okay, this ones we already answered about the distance. So Zoom will not be an option.
Did you get both these? You got those?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that the reason we're giving an informational session and also we're giving you the opportunity to really look, we're trying for you to be able to be, to look at that commitment, and we're giving you the dates ahead of time. So for you to plan to maybe a ride, or maybe you can carpool with other participants if you are interested, and distance is it's a problem.
You want to take? You want to take
Okay, okay.
Monica Soria?
Monica, you can open your mic or whatever is your microphone.
Hi, I have a question. So once selected for the program and for some reason you have a commitment that lands on one of the dates of the meeting, will we be let go of that program because we cannot reschedule that prior commitment that we had already made?
Yeah, good question, Monica. Because we want to be real clear in the presentation that the expectation and the goal is that we attend everyone. Now, if something happens, life happens throughout, we will have we will meet with you, we'll work out some arrangement, and we understand life happens. So you won't be kicked out, but we will have to meet you and I and the committee, and we'll have to make the arrangements. So yes, Monica, that's a really good question. So I wouldn't let the one session tell you that you can't apply. So you should still apply, be part of it, but you should let us know too in the application. So thanks, Monica.
Connie?
Connie?
Hola, buenos días. Gracias por la presentación. Una pregunta, Erika. En los entrenamientos van a tener varias personas que van a exponer los temas o solamente una persona?
So she's asking if there are going to be different experts talking about the different topics. The answer is yes, Connie. Va a haber, sí va a haber diferentes presentadores. Entonces van a tener la oportunidad de aprender de diferentes expertos basados en los temas que Tony repasó en la presentación. So there's going to be different experts on the topics that Tony addressed in the PowerPoint that we will try to cover so that you develop those skills around those specific. And as you notice, there was a big slide full of competencies that you will be developed as a result of going through the process. Connie, no sé si se traducieron, pero si escuchaste lo último que dije o no.
Ok, gracias, Erika. Excelente, gracias.
Okay.
Connie's probably upset because she wanted me to do all the presentations so that I could talk all the time. But for Connie, yeah, we'll be bringing in experts from all over the country, and it won't just be me. So sorry, Connie.
So the last question in the chat, and then we'll come back to the room, is, are you going to share all the material? Just laughing out loud. The next question is, are you going to share all the material of each session, or do we have to take notes?
Yeah, there'll be materials for the class, and you'll have those. You don't have to take notes. Whatever helps you learn, I would say do that. It's not like you're at school and you're gonna take notes and there's a multiple choice test or things like that. It's more dynamic, and so whatever helps you learn, I would say do that. Some people take notes, some people don't take notes at all, but we will have handouts.
Okay. Ahora, ¿tienen preguntas? Do you have any questions in the room? Oh.
Ismael Cortés de Fuerzas Unidas. Hace rato decían que solamente iban a atender a la gente que está aledaña a este centro regional. Pero ¿qué pasa con las familias que son migrantes, que van siguiendo las cosechas? Incluso hay algunas familias que se van a México, van y vienen. ¿Cómo deben de hacer su continuidad de atención? Gracias.
So Ismael is asking for the migrant families that move with the seasons of the crops. And he's asking that this program specifically for those who are clients or consumers of the center, but is there an opportunity for them that they're on the move for them to be involved if they were to be interested during the time that the program takes place, if they're around?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, yes, they're connected to the regional center, then definitely, you know, we just, wherever you are throughout your day is wherever you are. But on that one weekend, just come and do the classes so they can make it here on that weekend of the class, that one weekend in the month, and they can fully participate. We'd love to have them.
Tony,
So maybe I
Yeah.
think I might have not said the right thing. His question is, what if they're not tied to the regional center, but they are in need?
Okay, yeah, no, the qualifications is that they have to be tied to the regionals. They have to have a child or young adult who has a developmental disability, or be a family member of a child or young adult with a developmental disability. So those are the qualifications.
Tony, for clarification, so if a family has a child with a child who's receiving services from the regional center and the family wants to participate in this program, but they're only living here for a few months, not the full 8 months, can they just come for those sessions? Just for clarification.
Oh, not attend all the sessions? Yeah. We would have to talk to them, but well, it's unlikely. I mean, if it was the one, like Monica said, some, you know, very small amount, like something like that, we would discuss it. We'd have to be able to work out some plan. So that would be the only way that would work. It's not a solid no, but it's unlikely.
So the next question is, I think you answered, but let's make sure we do it again. Can a person who is not part of the regional center put an application? I think you already answered.
No, they have to be a parent or family member or person with developmental disability. So that's the qualification.
Okay, we are 13 minutes away from the time we asked you to commit. Is there any additional questions? If not, we'll send you, for those of you who are, we do have their emails. Or no?
I believe we can.
Or can we, they just put it on the chat?
I think, yeah, no, they didn't
They
register.
didn't register. Okay, so for those of you who are joining us virtually, and because we didn't have a registration, but we would love to follow up with all of you with the materials and the application, can you please put your email in the chat? We'll lower that in case you're not okay with everyone seeing it. So if you would like to get the information, please put it in the chat. Directly to Doug if possible, or if you're okay, put it in the chat where everyone can see it and we'll follow up.
We will also place the English and Spanish applications on our website. We'll also place the English and Spanish applications on our website, as well as put in our newsletter, our English and Spanish newsletter that comes out every week. And then if you need a hard copy, you can contact Gabby or Erica, or even your service coordinator. There is a deadline, so the committee will be accepting applications. Let's see. up until Sunday, May 8th. So if this is a program that you're interested in applying for, we do need your application either online or the paper copy. We need to have it by Sunday, May 8th, which is 2 weeks from this Sunday. So you have about 2 weeks to decide if this is a program that you want to commit to, and then get the application to the committee. The decisions, so if you apply, if you get your application in by May 8th, the decision from the committee will be given on May 16th, whether or not you've been accepted to the program. It's just emails.
Okay. Any more questions? And if not, we'll wrap up 10 minutes early. No hay más preguntas, si no, vamos a terminar 10 minutos antes.
I'll leave it up in case they still want to put their thing in the chat.
Okay, so we're gonna, Tony, do you have any last? Well, I
Maybe
think,
this is Dora. This is
Okay.
Dora.
go ahead.
Yes, I just want to make a comment or a suggestion. Can we give a little bit more detail, Tony, on what we're looking for as far as, we have an application, yes, but can we tell the audience here what specifics, if we have specifics that we're looking for in an applicant, because usually, you know, there's a job description or some sort when you apply. So I think that's maybe something that we haven't covered. Ya estaba yo preguntando que si tienen algunos detalles de información específica que buscan en una persona que aplique.
Dora, I'll answer in English because I think that's where the interpretation is coming. So in the frequently asked questions that we'll also send you, if you for sure, make sure you leave your email. And in the frequently asked questions, we actually describe a little bit of what's just a brief summary and the requirements. So definitely we are asking as part of the requirements, it's to attend all sessions, both Saturday and Sunday, an interest in learning and practicing new skills in a comfortable and safe environment, a desire to build and strengthen a network of people from diverse cultural backgrounds and a life experiences, a willingness to learn from a national and state experts who share a vision and values, complete an application, be available for an interview in advance in the selection process, and complete assignments and activities on time. And who can apply? The program is designed for parents and legal guardians of young children with developmental disabilities and adults with developmental disabilities. And you can apply even if you don't know English. And then there's more specifics in the frequently asked questions, as my email, my phone number, and also each application has basically the information that I just shared at the top of each application.
You can tell them I'm sharing it.
And so right now, Doug, it's sharing the English.
No.
No, it's the Spanish one. And if you send it electronically, you can just put the information and I will be receiving the copy. And also I left a session at the end with questions and comments. So if you already foresee a conflict, but you're really committed to the rest of the sessions, please let us know. We will also follow up to those of you in the application process and ask a question about any possible conflicts. And I know life happens, so if you don't know ahead, that's fine, but we definitely would want for you to commit to all sessions all the time, and because people will learn from you and you will learn from others. If you are not present, that will not happen. And so the application also online, it's the same, it looks the same, it's just in English. But as someone mentioned, if you do feel comfortable in another language that is not Spanish or English, please, my email is in the flyer and in every application, and you can just call us and I will work with the center to make sure you get the application in the language of preference. Or support you in filling it out for you, if that would be easier. Okay.
Thank you.
For those of us who are not going to be able to take advantages of this opportunity, are there going to be other opportunities? We don't, Tony, it's not in the room, and this is it for right now. This is what we can.
This is the first. We had to apply for the money to put this program on. And so the grant that we applied for and the money we've been granted is only for this one program. So we don't know if we're going to have future programs. I'm sure after the program is over, we will evaluate and ask participants how they enjoyed it. Was it successful? You know, we'll internally, we'll look at the work that we did, see if we did a good job. And it's possible in the future, but we don't know because we've only been given the funding for this first program. But we hope it is successful, and it would be great if it is successful and we're able to have another class in the future.
And if you are not sure yet, apply so that at least you get an opportunity, because if you don't apply, you will not even be considered. So definitely, if you are questioning, like Grace shared with us, give yourself a chance, give it a try, and then you'll decide. And we're also gonna need volunteers in some of the sessions. So if you can keep up with at least with the schedule, maybe you can volunteer in a specific sessions if you would like to learn. Puede.
One more or no?
Sí.
Galaxy.
Quien tenga el nombre de Galaxy, or whoever has the Galaxy name, you can ask the question. Puede hacer la pregunta.
¿Sí estos entrenamientos solamente son para el Valle de la Montaña o puede ser de otros condados? ¿De otros que pertenezcan a otros centros regionales?
So her question is it just for Valley Mountain Center, or can people apply from other centers?
This particular class is only for people who live in the Valley Mountain Regional Center 5-county area. So the applicant would have to live in San Joaquin County, Stanislaus County, Calaveras, Amador, or Tuolumne County. So yeah, this one is specific to Valley Mountain.
Okay, gracias.
Okay.
Griselda?
Oh, Griselda?
Sí, cómo va a ser la selección y las preguntas que están en la aplicación, no demandan tanto exactamente qué es lo que están buscando. Esa es mi duda.
So she's asking how is the application and how are we going to make that selection based on the application that they complete. But I don't know if they have seen it.
So the committee will review all of the applications, and it's a committee that's made up of a few regional center staff, made up of lots of community partners from different agencies who are planning the sessions, and they will kind of like a hiring process. Yeah, and there are certain categories that we have to follow. So certain amount of participants have to actually be consumers, what we call self-advocates. Certain amount of participants have to only speak one language, non-English. Certain amount of participants have to be bilingual, so they'll speak English and another language. So it's a combination of things, Griselda. So it's a review process by the committee, and then we have to fill certain slots that criteria that the applicants have to meet.
And the application was set up in a way that it would allow for that committee to be able to make that decision. So the questions asked in the application will give us the diversity that the program is looking for. That's the one that I've already talked, and that you'll see in the PowerPoint when we send it to you.
Uno más?
It's already 10:30. There's gonna be 50 personas. Van a seleccionar 50. We're gonna select 50. Okay, and it's already 10:30. Reina, do you wanna ask your question?
Yes,
Reina, ¿puede hacer su
sí,
pregunta?
tengo una pregunta o una sugerencia, como le quieran llamar. Buenos días.
Buenos días,
Mira,
Reina.
yo sé que Tony es la máxima autoridad, yo sé que él, pero la decisión que tomó de hacer las clases presenciales para mí se me hace como que no es muy justo, porque nosotros, que no se olvide, somos madres de niños especiales, que no podemos dejarlos todo el día solos, aunque sea una vez al mes o 2 veces al mes. Entonces, estando aquí en la casa, cuando sean los lunches, cuando sean los breaks, cuando uno puede vigilar, puede ver y estar en el meeting al mismo tiempo. Y si te dejan afuera, pues automáticamente te descalifica.
So, déjame y lo interpreto, señora Reina, y ahorita le contesto.
Gracias.
So Reina is, she says, it may be a question or it may be a comment, and I know Tony is the highest authority, and that, but I don't know why he decided to do it on a weekend and on Zoom, because we have to take care of our, he should know better that we need to take care of our children, especially during the times like for our breaks, we're able to like see them and watch them. I'll respond. Señora Reina, no sé si pudo escuchar, pero Tony dijo que para personas en la situación que se encuentra usted, podría pedir más horas de respiro con una junta de IT para tener ese apoyo durante ese fin de semana al mes. Y gracias por su sugerencia, y para aclarar, no fue Tony quien hizo la decisión de ser presenciales, sino la beca que está ofreciendo el dinero para llevar a cabo. So I'm just making sure that Tony wasn't the one that made the decision to do it in person, that it was the application grant that was required. Okay, so usually we like to finish on time, but today we went over 2 minutes. I will give you back your Friday, and we look forward to getting your applications. Esperamos ver sus solicitudes. Muchísimas gracias. Feliz viernes. The Policymakers de Minnesota. Sí, cuando te mandemos la solicitud, puedes ver quién está dando la contribución, y en la invitación está el libro donde habla de todo el programa. So I just shared, she's asking who the donor is, and I said to go and look into the program handbook. Okay, gracias.